Welcome to the Dunn Wisdom Show, where faith meets action and leadership transforms lives. I am your host, Melissa P. Dunn, public servant, entrepreneur, and leadership strategist. Each week, we bring you conversations with leaders and change makers who embody courage, resilience, and integrity in the way they serve their communities. Together, we are uncovering the stories, lessons, and practices that have inspired you to lead, that will inspire you to lead boldly and live abundantly. In today's episode, we're focusing on an issue that is shaping families, neighborhoods, and our very nation: immigration. My guest today is Ruth Jean. She is a founder of the Jean Law Group and a proud graduate of Lauderhill Shines Cohort 8. Ruth is not only an attorney, she is a public servant who has dedicated her practice and her career to serving families and helping them to navigate the complex immigration system with compassion and integrity and dignity. In this conversation, Ruth and I will talk about her journey into law, the challenges immigrant communities are facing right now, and how value-based leadership makes a difference when law and lives interact. So, I want you to stay tuned as we spotlight this Lauderhill leader who is making an impact locally and nationally, one family at a time.
You never miss a cut. When the last time you get a checkup?
I used to avoid the doctor, didn't want to hear the bad news.
So you mean you avoid the doctor? You forgot the doctor, my brother? We teach our boys to take care of what matters. Show up, stay on top of things. But are we really showing them how it's done?
Visit myhealthpledge.org and take the pledge. Then go to the doctor and bring someone with you. No insurance? We can help. myhealthpledge.org lists free screenings in Lauderhill and in Overtown.
Hi, good to see you, Ruth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here.
So, I got to know you because you were in my Lauderhill Shines program maybe about a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And your story is really an interesting one. I know you as an immigration attorney in the city of Lauderhill, serving the South Florida area, but your journey is a little bit more intense than that. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Most definitely. It is a journey. I am an attorney now, but I am what I like to call a boat girl.
A boat girl.
A boat girl. Yes. So I came to the United States by boat. My mother took that journey from the Bahamas. I was born in the Bahamas, but both of my parents are from Haiti.
Okay.
I'm not the only person who's made this journey. As most of us who live in South Florida know, many people have made the journey by boat. My mom was fleeing. Well, what she thought was going to happen was that her children, myself and my brothers, were going to be sent back to Haiti to be cared for by our grandmother, our paternal grandmother. And being a strong Haitian woman that she was,
She's like,
or that
not
she
my
still
child.
is.
She's like, not my
she
children.
Said, no, not my children. I want them to have all the opportunity that the United States offers. And so she decided to take that risk. And, you know.
How old are you?
I was 2.
You were 2?
So,
oh, wow. And how old? It was you and your brother?
My brother, I have 2 brothers. I'm actually the oldest. I was 2. My brother was about 1, and my other brother was a newborn. They were born in the same year.
Wow.
So he was a newborn. In Creole, we say tout blanche, meaning like, you know, when we're all born, we're kind of all the same skin color. So he was a baby. So my mom has told me the story, and so I have a vivid picture of it, although I can't fully remember it. But she tells me how I was by her side, and she held my baby brother, and they didn't know what was going to happen. And it's not like we could swim. It's a life-risking journey. And, you know, there's a quote that says, no one puts their child on a boat unless the water is safer than the land. And when you think about immigrants who take this journey, you have to understand that there is something deep within them that they want to accomplish. And so my mother, being someone who didn't have a level of education, but education was valuable to her, she decided to take that route. And we landed here. We lived in Miami. Lots of economic struggles.
Yes, I can imagine.
She was a single mother of 3 immigrants, young children, and it was a struggle living in Miami, being of Haitian descent.
Sure.
In the 80s.
Did you guys have family here at the time that she had a support network?
At the time, she did have a cousin here. So we lived with her cousin for a while. And then she tells me the story, one of her best friends, because where she was living was, they didn't want the 3 kids there. Not with her cousin. She went from her cousin to someone else, and they didn't want her 3 kids there. They kind of gave her, the side eye.
Yes, like this thing where you had a lot of friends back home and you think that you can come here and be with them, and then things shift, right?
Yes.
So she now had to figure it out.
She had to figure it out. So then she had a best friend that lived in Broward who found out she was here, and we moved to Broward. So the majority of my youth has been in Broward County, although I did a brief stint in New Jersey because my dad lived in New Jersey and they reconciled. There's a whole story.
It's a
girl. Whole story.
Listen, okay, so no more. So then now you are here. You're with your mom. So you're, I guess, what you call a dreamer. You're an undocumented young person going to public school.
I was an undocumented young person going to school. During that time, you learned how to remain invisible. You learned how to not say too much, because you don't want to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And you learn how to fight your battles inward, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but you somehow learn how to talk to yourself and encourage yourself through what you have to go through. And so it was some of the things I didn't know or understand, but I knew that we had to be in the shadows, that we couldn't be too out there.
Right.
And ultimately, I was about 13 when we were able to get our permanent residency through laws that changed. Amnesty laws that changed.
So a pathway opened up, and your mom took advantage of it. And you guys were able to become permanent residents.
Yes. I remember that day clearly when I went to that interview.
Wow.
And one of the things, because I was born in the Bahamas, but my parents are from Haiti, that was one of the things the officer asked me. And I always saw myself as Haitian. So, are you Haitian? Or are you Bahamian? Well, I was born in the Bahamas, but I'm Haitian. And so that was one of the biggest things for us, because once we did that, because I can recall when my mother, there was a time when my grandmother on my mom's side, my maternal grandmother, passed away. I never met her.
Wow. And she couldn't go back to Haiti to go to the funeral?
She could not go back to Haiti.
That must have been painful.
I came home and found my mother on the bed just crying by herself. And asking her what happened, and when she told me her mother died and she couldn't go back and attend the funeral, see her mother for one last time, that stayed with me. I was probably about 7 years old, and then I understood the gravity of it all. So when we got that permanent resident card and were able to go to Haiti, although she wasn't able to see her mom or her dad because they both had passed away, but we were able to see other family members, brothers and sisters, and I was able to see my dad's side of
your family for the first time,
and
your Haitian family.
Just get that connection. And so it gave us a little bit of freedom.
I can imagine. I came to this country when I was 10, and I was blessed that I came in because my mother fell in love with my stepfather. They got married, and so I remember when I came here at 10 and having the in Texas, in Texas with a thick Jamaican accent, and then it was not easy for me. There's a lot of bullying, a lot of name calling. And I remember being on the phone with my grandmother one day when I got in a fight, and my mom called, and my grandmother asked me, "Why are you there?" So I find that with a lot of immigrant children, at least in my case, there was a sense of responsibility that you didn't want to blow the opportunity that's been given to you, that people sacrificed for. Was it like that for you as a young person?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. That was the biggest thing that my parents had instilled in me. They didn't come to this country for me to screw around. Education, and I'm the firstborn.
So that responsibility to set the example for your brothers.
Yes, most immigrants know the firstborn daughter. You're kind of responsible, and you have parents who don't read or write English. So when something comes home, something important, I had to read it for them.
Wow.
But there's that aspect outside of the home that, yes, the bullying does occur. And growing up as a Haitian in South Florida.
Oh my goodness. This was in the
stand
80s or
out.
the 90s?
Yes, the 80s.
Forget about
yes,
it.
It was Haitian body odor. It was the UE cat now that came back at some point with this administration. And so, and you stand out because, of course, your parents are not going to dress you any kind of way to go to school.
No.
You're going to wear your little anklet socks with the little
the
lace
bows
and the bows and all of that.
Yes.
So as much as you want to blend in, because one, you're living in the shadows, but your parents won't allow it because you have a certain standard to upkeep. And so, yes, the idea of having that standard and the idea of fulfilling what was my mom's pathway and fulfilling some of her goals, although she never wanted me to be a lawyer, she wanted me to be a doctor.
Oh, come on. Like most Caribbean parents.
Right?
My dad wanted me to be a lawyer.
You see? there you have it. And so ultimately, education was the key to get us out of poverty, to get us out
the equalizer.
of it is
One
the
would hope,
ultimate
right?
equalizer.
You never miss a cut. When the last time you get a checkup?
I used to avoid the doctor, didn't want to hear the bad news.
No, you mean you avoid the doctor? You forgot the doctor, my brother. We teach our boys to take care of what matters. Show up, stay on top of things. But are we really showing them how it's done?
Visit myhealthpledge.org and take the pledge. Then go to the doctor and bring someone with you. No insurance? We can help. myhealthpledge.org lists free screenings in Lauderhill and in Overtown.
So you went to college, you went to law school, and now you are practicing immigration law.
Yes.
I would imagine that doing that work in this season is challenging.
Challenging is an understatement.
What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
So what's happening right now, detention is a big, big deal right now. It's been the focus, and the focus of keeping people out as well with travel bans. People are getting detained, and value is being placed more so on individuals, let's say, who can contribute financially to the country rather than the human aspect. My mom may not have had a high level of education, but as we learned in COVID, those essential workers, those people who are making the beds in these hotels that people are sleeping in, those people who are cooking the food in the restaurants that we like to go to, those types of people are valuable.
Absolutely.
And the shift now is to kind of dehumanize those individuals and devalue those individuals. So you have more detentions occurring. The laws are changing now every single day.
Rapidly.
Regulations.
I have never seen so many ICE raids and people really living. You shared that you felt like you were living in the shadows.
Yes.
But I imagine now anybody who is undocumented is not just living in the shadows.
Yeah.
They're probably living under the shadows, out of fear.
In fear.
Yeah.
I was just listening to something yesterday in the schools, Broward County, Miami-Dade County, Orange County. The enrollment is really, it's almost, the enrollment has decreased. And from last year. In some places, it's double because people are afraid to send their children to school.
So they're not sending their children to school.
A lot of, I just listened to a woman have an interview a couple of days ago where a lot of individuals are afraid because there's no limit to these ICE raids, where before you knew schools,
was safe.
Churches, those type of areas were safe. And so it's become a chilling effect, right? It's become a chilling effect to individuals who just want to educate their children. And so people are not sending their children to school. People are not reporting crimes. People are not necessarily going to hospitals because they fear what can happen to them if ICE gets a hold of them. And honestly, from my viewpoint as a practitioner, in general, once ICE gets a hold of you where they are right now, the instructions are not to release you. So it has been a challenge. What you try to do is educate individuals on how not to be detained.
Okay, and so what is that education? Give us a couple of tips.
Well, first and foremost, I like to keep it real with my clients. Don't drive if you don't have a valid driver's license, right? A majority of people that are getting detained are being stopped by local officers, and then because of these agreements that they have with ICE, are now, if they don't have a valid driver's license, they're being placed in custody, and ICE is picking them up from there. Don't go to places where you know there may be individuals who are, under the influence, there may be drugs involved, any type of criminal activity that may be involved, because you may not be participating in that activity,
right?
But you can be caught up in it because for whatever reason, a neighbor may call or someone else may alert ICE, and because of that. So that's one thing. Also know your rights, right?
And what are their rights?
Well, if they're in their home, if you are in your home, ICE has no right to come and pick you up without a warrant.
Okay.
And not these flimsy ICE warrants that they sometimes try to show people. It needs to be a judicial warrant signed by a judge with your name and your address on it.
Okay.
So the ultimate thing is, just because someone knocks on the door, I know we're Caribbean, so
who is it?
It's like, who is it? Doors wide open. We're the courtesy and the politeness that we want to provide, we need to leave that at the door when it comes to ICE, right? Don't open the door. And if they say they have a warrant, okay,
have them show it up.
Show it, slide it under the door. And under those circumstances, they would be able to potentially come in and pick you up. But let's say you have a mixed status family, and they are there to pick up one individual, and they do have a valid warrant. Don't just open up and let them in. Let that person go out. Let them do that. Because once you let them in the home, someone else is there.
They're going to pick up everybody.
Exactly. Another thing, be prepared, right? Individuals, especially who know they're at risk, most individuals who are at risk know they're at risk. Those individuals need to be prepared, have a plan in place. If ICE picks me up, who am I going to call? Who do I have an attorney on speed dial, so to speak? Does my family member have all of my documents? If I have things that are pending, cases that are pending, does my family member know my alien number, my A number? Does my family know members or friends know my date of birth? Right. All of those types of things.
And who's going to take care of my children if I have children?
Right. Powers of attorney.
Right.
Who's going to go get that money in the bank if I'm the only one
that's on that
account? Say I need money to hire an attorney or money to pay a bond if a judge gives me a bond. Who's going to access that? So be prepared with powers of attorney and those types of things. Preparedness is really key because you can't, if you're going to be taken into custody after you've done everything you can to avoid the risk, you can't really stop that from happening. But if you're prepared and you have a plan, you can lessen the blow.
That's true. That makes a lot of sense, Ruth. That makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm curious, too. I know that there's some deadlines coming up around TPS. Could you help us understand that a little bit better?
Well, so here's what is going on with TPS. So many different deadlines for so many different countries, but I'll talk about Haiti because Haiti has had a lot of confusion. First, it was terminated, then it wasn't, then it was. So the administration has to follow specific steps in order to terminate. And so that's why it didn't terminate in August or September as it was supposed to.
Right.
They did not follow those steps. And so now the new date, which was the original date, is February 3rd of 2026.
Okay.
Haitians have been on TPS since the earthquake. The earthquake was primary grounds. And then things that have been happening, instability in the country, gangs, things that have been happening.
It's not safe.
It's not safe.
Yeah.
It's not safe. And everything that's been going on in that country has not ameliorated. But so this is what the administration is supposed to review. Are things better?
And we know they're not.
They're not.
Correct.
But somehow the argument has been made that they are by the administration. And so ultimately, February 3rd is the technical end date. There are certain things that have to happen, the administration has to do within 60 days of it terminating. We expect that, again, they will announce that they will be terminating because, you know,
for
some
whatever
type of blanket
reason. So if you're a person right now that you have TPS, then what should you be doing in preparation for the possibility that it will indeed terminate?
Okay. So first and foremost, so many different people have TPS. There are people with TPS who have removal orders. There are people with TPS who came in on a visa and just overstayed their visa. There are people with TPS who are currently in removal proceedings. So the first thing, if they haven't done so yet, is seek competent legal advice on what
competent legal advice. And let me tell you, people, I have heard stories, and I'm talking to you directly. I've heard stories about immigration lawyer running away with your money and not doing what they're supposed to do. So I always say to people, call the Bar Association and just double check before you hire an attorney. Is that a good status? Is that a good advice?
That's definitely good advice. And do your own research. And what happens is there are a lot of people pretending to be immigration lawyers.
And they're not.
And they're not even lawyers, much less an immigration lawyer.
So the first step is find competent legal counsel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And for people who cannot afford legal counsel, there's organizations out there like Florida Immigration Coalition, FLIC. They're
doing amazing
They're
work.
a nonprofit organization. I volunteer for them. A lot of private
helping
attorneys
a lot of immigrants to become citizens.
Citizens. They have their citizenship drive coming up. And so if you cannot afford an attorney, there's resources for those people who cannot afford private counsel. But seek at least a consultation to know what your next steps are if you have any immigration relief, because there's a myth that people think if you're here long enough, somehow you can get your papers.
And that's not the case.
That's not
especially
the case.
not in this environment.
Exactly. So it's limited as to what relief you can have. So seek competent legal counsel. Then do that preparation that we just talked about. If you know you have children, there's people with TPS who may have children who are 15, 16, and you know you don't want to leave with them. You want them to remain here. Get guardianships for them. Have someone do powers of attorney. Have someone taking care of them and taking care of whatever it is that you have in terms of assets and to start trying to wind down. But be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that if there's no remedy for you, if I were in that circumstance, for me, it would be better for me to figure out how to deport. What's the term?
That's what they're calling it now. Self-deporting,
rather than having ICE pick me up and send me to a country that I know nothing about. I hear that they're putting people that are from Jamaica or Haiti in Africa or somewhere like that, and that when they pick you up, sometimes your family has no way of knowing if you're even okay.
Right. Countries I've never even heard of. They're sending people to, and they're deporting people to third countries that they don't even have ties to. Yeah. So it's really important. Yes, if you can do it on your own terms, do it on your own terms. But the first thing is to know that you have no relief.
Yeah.
And so to know that you gotta find counsel to tell you, you don't. There's nothing else you can do. And maybe your home country, you don't want to go back there, but maybe other countries might be an option.
Right.
So it's important to find out what your options are, and then if you can leave on your own terms.
Leave it on your own terms. Well, I know that you are currently seeing a lot of clients. I imagine that you probably have a lot of work, right?
Yes.
And I know that you wrote this book, Boat Girl Dreamers Experience. So tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, one of the reasons I wrote the book is because in my world as an immigrant, I never saw someone who looked like me or had my story. There is this in the box story in American culture of what immigrants look like and who are the immigrants, right? Meanwhile, there are so many Black and undocumented immigrants living in the United States that don't get to be heard. And so I felt that, one, that needed to be seen, that yes, I was once undocumented, now I'm an immigration attorney.
And an American citizen.
American
citizen. There was a clear path for you.
There was a path for me. And it answers questions. So, and it doesn't answer questions in legalese.
Right.
It's not a book for lawyers to teach them how to be a lawyer. It's a book for the everyday person who may have a question on their specific situation. And then it's a book to encourage people to know that there's hope.
There is hope. There's hope. There's hope. Even in this climate. There's still hope.
Yes, even in this climate, because I tell no lie, I'm still getting successful cases. I'm still getting successful rulings, even in this climate. So we can't forget that. As much as we hear about the negative, and I think that's where the shift has happened, we're seeing and hearing so much negative that the positive stories are being buried, but they're still happening.
There's still hope. I love that. Yes. There's still hope. So how do you take care of yourself as you are pouring into other people? How do you pour into you?
Well, balance is important. I've learned that creating boundaries is important. I believe in the power of prayer.
Hello, come on now.
So praying consistently, incessantly, I believe in that. And my relationship with my God is the most important. Family is also important to me. My kids keep me on my toes. They keep me young. They teach me all the slang.
Yeah.
And so I spend lots of time with my children and my husband. I like to exercise. I have a Peloton at home. So when I'm really, really stressed,
that's what you do.
I get on my Peloton and sweat the stress away.
That's what you do. Well, we're certainly going to put information about your book in the show notes so that folks can access it. But Ruth, I want to thank you for all that you do in the community, and I pray that God continues to give you the strength that you need in order for you to lead powerfully in these challenging times.
Thank you, and I really appreciate that. All right, take it in. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Dunn Wisdom Show. I'm your host, Melissa P. Dunn. And if you have any challenges or questions about immigration, I'm going to put some numbers of resources that you can reach out to. Thank you again, and we'll see you for the next show.